Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Let me just start by quickly introducing myself. I am Dr. Pooja Misra. I'm the chairperson for the Retail Management Program, and I have been with the Birla Institute of Management Technology, Greater Noida, for the past 10 years. As far as my teaching is concerned, I'm involved in the Department of Economics, and I take subjects such as managerial economics, macroeconomics, etc. To give you a quick brief about the retail management program, and that's what we are here to discuss about today. As far as the retail management program in BIMTECH is concerned, it was started in 2002. Initially, it was a one-year program, which subsequently, on the request of industry professionals, it was converted to a two-year program. So currently, we have the retail management program, which is a comprehensive two-year program consisting of 6 trimesters. Now, what was the perspective behind having a retail management program? I'm sure you're aware that as far as the retail industry is concerned, the retail industry in today's date is a booming industry. And the perspective of going ahead with such a sectoral program was to be able to bridge the gap. And when I say gap, the learnings that the industry wanted from students, from management professionals, most importantly. So as far as the perspective behind going ahead and having such a program is concerned, the entire objective was that we bridge the gap between the requirement of the industry and build management students who subsequently can add value to the retail industry per se. Now, to give you a little more insight about the program, like I mentioned, it's a two-year program. It's hardcore catering to the retail industry per se. When I'm talking of the retail industry, I'm referring to both the front end and the back end. What do I mean by front end? Front end is so any store operations. You walk across to a mall, there are various stores over there, right? That's front end operations. So that is pretty much where probably once you passed out as students, so as a store manager, etc., you probably will get a placement there. Backend, what do I mean by backend? Backend is relating to merchandising, relating to supply chain management, inventory logistics, etc., where planning of all the products that are to be stocked in the various stores is concerned. So as far as the retail management program is concerned, it caters both to the front end and the back end. Now, let me tell you a little more about the 2 years that if you're interested and you join for the retail management program, how would your 2 years really shape out? The first term, a little bit about the subjects, which I'm sure even if you go online, you'll get the details of the subjects the moment you click on retail management program. But to begin with, we start with some basic core subjects. So when I'm talking of core subjects, I'm referring to an accounting paper, I'm referring to an economics paper, I'm referring to statistics paper, etc. Along with that, from the very first trimester itself, we introduce retail related papers. So the very first trimester will have probably retail concepts and environment. Second trimester, we'll build on that a little more where we talk of retail store management. So end of the day, the 6 trimesters, by and by, the core papers or the basic managerial accounting papers, etc., we'll start moving them away and we'll move more towards the hardcore retail oriented subjects. By the 4th and the 5th trimester, you'll have subjects such as private labels and category management. You'll have subjects such as design thinking. You'll have subjects such as legal framework. When I'm talking of legal framework, obviously the course will be related to, in the retail store operations, what are the various laws that you need to go ahead and follow. So this is just an overview of some subjects that you will be exposed to. Like I said, a mix of retail subjects, and along with that, it will be a mix of the core papers, that is per se. Now to move a little bit into the details of, so while I've talked of the various subjects, as far as the retail industry is concerned, what we also try our level best to do is give you as much live exposure as we can. Now, what do I mean by live exposure? Obviously, the basics is that there will be guest lectures, a whole lot of guest lectures from the first trimester itself. But then other than the guest lectures, we try our level best to give experiential learning courses to our students. When I'm talking about experiential learning courses in the second trimester, so effectively in the very first year itself, from about in the month of October end or first week of November, what we do is we send students out to various stores. When I'm talking of various stores, for 10 days, and the students will move out of the class for 10 days. For those 10 days, each student will be aligned to one particular store. The perspective and the entire, so from morning to evening, they will, and for 10 days continuously, they'll be spending their time in this particular store itself. Now, what is the perspective behind why do we send you across to these stores for 10 days? And this happens, if you ask me, it happens in the second trimester and another 10 days in the third trimester. So month of October, November, and the second stint will happen in the month of January, towards the end. The perspective, that is more important for you to understand. The entire reason behind such an on-job training, we call it the on-job training, and the entire reason behind this on-job training is so that whichever concepts you have learned in class, right? So in retail concepts and environment, you've learned what do you mean by various terms, etc. You can see it live over there. Plus, you have exposure to merchandising. In addition, you have exposure to customer service, etc. Reason being because industry, when they come for placements, what they're looking at is that if they hire you, let's say, as a category manager, if it's a big store, so I'm talking in terms of probably a Chroma, so one of those big stores. If it's a smaller store, maybe as a store manager. So if they want to hire you at that level, what they're looking at is that you understand the pain points and the challenges that customer service executives are undergoing. It's only then you can perform literally as a manager, and you have the experience to take solutions which will work also for the customer service executives. So that is the reason why we have this entire on-job training in place. Like I said, it's a live exposure. Along with that, other experiential programs that we have is there's a 9-credit course in after first year, which is the summer internship, where for about 3 months you will be there in the industry, so any company per se, where you would probably take up projects. So a summer internship project could be on retail store operations, it could be on merchandising, depends which company, and also depends on what your interest area is. Along with that, what we have is something known as a FRUSH. Now, FRUSH over here in BIMTECH, this is a retail lab kind of a thing. It's a voluntary basis. When I say voluntary basis, so FRUSH is a kiosk which is run by the students in the evenings from about 5 o'clock in the evening, 4:30 in the evening till about 9 o'clock. Students go ahead and sell various products in that kiosk. So in today's date, if you ask me, they're selling sandwiches, they're selling shakes, etc. Now, the entire perspective behind FRUSH is, and like I said, it's a voluntary basis, whichever students are interested, so they get together and they go ahead and manage FRUSH. The entire perspective behind FRUSH is that from the sourcing of the various raw material that is needed, to marketing, to selling, to manufacturing, so really making shakes, etc. The entire process is conducted by the retail student himself or herself. It's an exciting exposure, if you ask me. We started it out initially with about 5-6 students, which in today's date has about 13-14 students who are managing FRUSH. Believe me, and here's take my word per se, it's very exciting for the students because, again, like I said, it's going to give you live exposure. You might source lesser raw materials. Maybe you haven't been able to plan. So when I say plan, you might have extra inventory with you, or you might fall short of inventory, right? So on a live basis, you are trying to figure out your planning, your forecasting, the demand that is there. Plus, in addition to that, what are you doing? You're trying to market your products to the captive audience that you have. Yes, I mentioned captive audience because this kiosk is run within the premises of BIMTECH in the evening. So it's basically open to the students over here who are staying over here. I'm sure all of you are aware that as far as BIMTECH is concerned, it is a fully residential program. So it's compulsory for you to be here. Other than that, we also have something known as, so again, now here I'm talking in terms of the experiential learning programs. And like I said earlier, the perspective of the experiential learning programs is to give you as much live exposure. So another experiential live program that we have is something known as a short-term project, STP, where students are supposed to undertake at least one short-term project between trimester 2 to trimester 5. The entire again now. So when I'm talking of a short-term project, this can be for a period between a period of 10 to 15 days, where you are undertaking a live project that is there in the industry. Like I said, industry, we're talking in terms of the retail industry. Retail industry, it could be anything, front end, back end, digital, etc. Wherever you get a project, and obviously the project is of your interest area, that's where you pick up the project from. Another thing that I missed out was, I'll just go back to the courses a little. First, second, and third trimester, all our courses are core courses. However, in the fourth and the fifth and the sixth trimester, we offer a bunch of electives, a basket of electives. So if you ask me, some of the electives are digital marketing. It could be, so there are, for the current batch, that's 2018-20, out of a basket of 3 electives in trimester 4 and 3 electives in trimester 5, they're supposed to choose two electives. The perspective again behind offering these electives is so that the student can find the natural progression career path that they're looking at. Maybe you're interested in retail marketing. Maybe somebody else is interested in digital marketing completely. Maybe somebody wants to, so while they're looking at retail, they're looking at the retail banking, the retail insurance industry. So that is the reason why we have these electives in place. If you see, one of the electives also is on rural management. Maybe that is what is of your interest area. So like I said, the entire reason behind having a basket of electives is so that one, the student can figure out and choose those subjects which are of interest to them and where they want to build their careers, that is. Now to come back to the experiential learning program, along with OGT, STP, what we also have is something known as an industrial visit, which happens, so first year, towards the end of first year and the third trimester, sometime in the last week of February. The industrial visit is where wherever, end of the day, the institute goes ahead and comes up with 2 or 3 options, where as a group across various courses, the options are whichever place you want to go across and visit, like I said, in a group. So let's assume if you choose for Mumbai or you choose Dubai. So what is it that you're going to learn over there? So let's say Dubai, you'll have a couple of meetings with CEOs. You'll go ahead and visit the mall over there, see how the mall works. And importantly, also, there's a subject on mall management. So when I say you'll visit the mall, you'll see which are the various stores. On what basis have the mall management decided who to go ahead and rent out their stores to, so they have maximum return on investment. So here I'm talking in terms of an industrial visit project, right? Other than that, like I mentioned earlier, we continuously have guest lectures in all the various subjects that are taught. Along with that, we also conduct various panel discussions. Some of the topics that for the panel discussion that we had over the past 2 years is, so last year, one of the years we talked about, so there was a panelist, whole panel which discussed omni-channel retailing. So there could be, and currently we're also in the process, next month rather, we have a panel discussion scheduled on the trends and challenges that the retail industry is facing. So again, now, as far as the panel discussion is concerned, it gives you exposure to the perspectives of the industry experts, right? So again, the reason behind is, one, you have your in-class teaching. Along with that, you have industry experts who are coming across and giving you their perspective. And that's pretty important, because obviously as a student or effectively as a retail management professional tomorrow, you should be able to understand not just the theoretical part, but also the practical side of it. And like I said earlier, the entire experiential learning program is primarily to give you an exposure on the practical aspects. Retail is an industry where, fine, there is theory around it, but the more the practical exposure that we can give you, the better it is for you. And the endeavor of the entire retail management program office is to give you as much practical exposure. If you ask me, just just the weekend that's gone, our retail management students, they have a club known as Retailia. They had conducted a an event in the evening which was by the name of Vikre. Now, what were the various events that were there under Vikre? They went ahead and they had a competition where you had to go ahead. So there was it was called Pitch Your Luck. What did it consist of? So there was a product that was given to a team, and the team had to go ahead and market the product out to judges. These judges consisted of our alumni, so retail management alumni. And so what are you doing? There's a product that's being given, you're trying to sell the product to the alumni comes back with a whole lot of questions to you. And how's it helping you? It is obviously trying to build on the managerial skills that you have built over the past 6 months or year and a half, depending on which year you are in, first year or second year. Right? So all that I'm trying to do is trying to tell you that along with classes, you will have a lot of exposure to live projects, etc. And at least in the retail management program, we encourage students to go ahead and take up as many projects as they can. That does not mean in any way that you can skip your classes. No, but you'll manage. You'll figure out how to manage between the two. Time management, I'm sure by now everybody's aware time management is important. And we as faculty will also help you with that. What else do I want to go ahead and talk to you about? Okay, now when I've talked of industry exposure, like I said, so we have guest lectures where we have experts coming across, CEOs of companies coming across and talking to you all. Along with that, we also have our alumni, and our alumni are doing pretty well. Our alumni are in companies such as Tata Croma, they're in Bata, they're in Birla Retail, Kazo, Reliance, Shoppers Stop, Decathlon. So there are a whole lot of companies where our alumni are there. And our alumni are very keen to come back and share their experiences with our students. So the more you hear from the alumni, again, your learning will become that much better and the learning will be that much faster and more effective, if you ask me. Like I said, so a couple of companies that I can go ahead and name, and I'm sure you'll find it on the website also, who are our recruiters. We have Raymond, Spencer's, Madura, we have Fab India, we have SSIPL, Naturals, Decathlon, Catwalk, Bata, Arvind, Aditya Birla Retail, etc., who are our recruiters. Landmark Dubai is also our recruiter. What else? So then, okay. Along with so I've talked about the panel discussion. I've talked about guest lectures. Along with that, we also have certain workshops for our students. So if I had to tell you workshops that have been conducted just in the last month there was a KPMG workshop where they trained students, and this is across the various programs, the PGDM programs. They train the students on Six Sigma. And that is, if you're interested, you can go ahead and be a part of that program. That's not compulsory for everybody. Along with that, we also have business etiquette workshop, because obviously communication skills is important. You should be, first and foremost, you should be able to, so in a retail industry, any industry, you should be able to connect with the person, right? So in retail industry, what I can easily say is you should be able to connect with your customer. Even before the customer has asked, the moment the customer walks into the store, you should be able to understand, depending on where is it the customer is looking at or which products is the customer looking at, you should be able to estimate that what is it that the customer really wants? What is it that interests the customer, right? If I'm looking at even merchant, and remember one thing, very importantly, if you have exposure on the front end, you will be that much more successful in the back end, because back end, like I mentioned, we're talking in terms of merchandise. So in a store, what do you need to decide? Which products are demanded, to what extent are they demanded, which product is the live selling product, right? So you'll be able to do that only if you have exposure on the front end side of it. So now to put together the two, to come back to another panel discussion topic that we had, one was managing growth through private labels. If you go back and look at private labels, is pretty important for all the big stores in today's date. While they make their money from the brands, they also make a lot of money through private labels. What else? Also, as far as the curriculum is concerned, our effort always is to keep the curriculum as current, as comprehensive as possible. How do we manage this? We obviously invite feedback from our experts. Plus, additionally, what we do is we go ahead and in the month of April, we have something known as Industry Academia Meet, where we have about 15 to 20 industry experts who come across, and they actually go through our curriculum in detail. When I say curriculum, the kind of subjects that are taught, the topics in the subjects that are taught, they go through that in complete detail and based on their inputs. So we've also had industry coming back and saying maybe this is a subject that you would want to teach a little more in detail, right? So we take their inputs and then subsequently we go back and introduce a new subject, introduce a topic in a current subject, etc. The entire reason behind it is that it should be as comprehensive and as per the requirement of the industry. Reason being, because obviously we want you all to be employable. The moment you're coming towards the close of the program of your 2 years, we want you to be employable and add a whole lot of value to the industry. Not only employable, but to shine out in the industry per se, right? So the perspective, and that's the reason why we obviously logically will keep our curriculum as much as possible as current, as comprehensive, and give you as much live exposure as possible. I think from my end, I've pretty much covered, okay, just the pedagogy. So in the classroom, what all will you have? You will have classroom lectures, which is obviously there, but we obviously move the next step on that. Classroom lectures is very boring. So we have a whole lot of case studies, we have workshops, guest lectures, quizzes, plays, etc. in classes. Along with that, you will have your presentations, your assignments. So that our pedagogy consists of all of this. It's made up of all of this put together. I think, can I take the questions now, if that's okay? Okay, so I believe, Ayush, there's a question that you asked, what is the average package which is offered to a retail management student at BIMTECH this year? The average package is around 7.85 lakhs, and I'm talking for the current year per se. So I hope that answers your question. Ravi, your question is, how good is retail management in BIMTECH for a fresher? Okay, interesting. As far as retail management is concerned, there are only about, I think, 3 institutes which offer you a comprehensive retail management program. And BIMTECH, as far as BIMTECH is concerned, we are the pioneers in this. So we've had an experience of a good 15 years now. For a fresher also, it is, if you ask me, it is good, because reason being, because even though you're a fresher, like I mentioned, there's a whole lot of experiential program courses that we offer, right? So if you do not have WorkX, that's okay. We give you that exposure through, if you remember, I mentioned on-job training, I mentioned summer internship, I mentioned short-term projects. So that gap we try to fill out for you. So for a fresher, it's perfectly in line. We'll try to give you as much live exposure as possible, and you'll be sound over here, not an issue at all. Okay, Sangeeta is asking, what is the cap cutoff for a BIMTECH retail management course? So I can just go to last year figures to you. As far as CAT last year is concerned, for a retail management program, it was in the range of about 60, 65, while for MAT, it was, so CMAT, etc., it was 70, right? But I'm sure you're aware that it's not only the CAT or the MAT. Along with that, we have group discussions, we have personal interviews. So it's an entire rubric that goes ahead and decides whether you can be or whether you'll be a part of the retail management program per se. We'd obviously love to have each one of you here, but then there is a system in place which takes care of it. I think the next question is, Archit, okay, you give me a minute. Let me just read that question. Okay, so just to give everybody a background, as far as Archit is concerned, Archit has approximately 3 years of experience in digital marketing, interesting, and is interested in retail marketing. So is this the right fit for you? Yes, it certainly is, because the advantage that you have is the 3 years of digital marketing along with retail marketing, right? So if you do the retail management program, it's going to be a win-win for you after 2 years. You already have a live, so a work ethics of 3 years, and that will win in digital marketing. So it's good for you. Okay, Kinshuk, Okay, what you're saying is you've applied at BIMTECH and you've given your CAT score. I won't give that out here. So can you expect a call letter? If you do, when will you receive it tentatively? Okay, the details I'm sure will be given on the admission page. So as far as your chances are concerned, I'm sure keeping your CAT person, so you mentioned it, keeping your CAT score in mind, you have a fair chance of getting shortlisted for the GDP, for the PI and the WAT process, the written aptitude test process. You have a very fair chance, and it will be sent to you by the second week of February. I think that's the timeline which you should be looking at. And if I'm correct, as far as the PI and the written aptitude test is concerned, in Greater Noida, it will be conducted somewhere in the last week of February. Right, so and those are tentative dates. The exact details you'll get it on the admissions page. Are there any other questions that I'm looking at? Okay, give me a minute. I think there's another question that is coming. Let me also see if there's something else that I want to fill you all on. Oh yes, additionally, so till the time I get hold of the next question. Additionally, we also have something known as an international exchange, which is offered to the students. So that's an international exchange program. Students who are interested in the third trimester. That's right. In the third trimester, they have the option to go out, so go abroad for about 3 months or 6 months on an international exchange program. We have MOU signed with various universities abroad, and depending again on the university of your choice, and provided you go through the entire process that is there, if you're interested, you can go ahead and also get an international exposure, that is. Okay, do I have another question? Okay, so somebody's asking what are the kind of profiles that a fresher can expect in the retail sector. To begin with, like I said, if it is a big store, so probably, and pardon me if I'm taking names of companies, so if it is a big store the size of Tata Chroma, if it's a big store the size of Reliance stores, then over there you'll get, so initially once you pass out, you'll be taken as a management trainee, and then subsequently you'll be at a department manager level. And post gaining experience, then you'll get an exposure as a store manager level. Understand the reason behind it. When I'm talking of a Tata Chroma store, it's a youth store, and straight out of college, any management college, becoming a store manager there is not the best answer for you, because obviously challenges are different. Various products that you have to take care of, a whole lot of employees that you have to take care of and come up with solutions. So that is the reason why they hire at a department manager level. Other than that, for the smaller ones, so if I had to talk in terms of luxury brands, there's a 1-year stint that they have as a management trainee. Post that, they offer you jobs at a store manager level itself, depending on your performance. Let me keep that disclaimer, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. Logically, any company would do that. Depending on the performance that you have shown, then subsequently your career will keep moving up. Okay. Next, there's a question which says, okay, somebody has told her, is there any growth in the retail management industry, and are they target oriented? So, okay. When I gave you my background, let me just go a little, let me talk about my qualifications, right? So I've done my PhD, I've done my doctorate, but I've been in the academics only for the past 12 years now. Prior to that, I was in the industry. So I have been with companies such as Standard Chartered Bank, American Express, etc. Reason why I'm telling you that much in detail is because, like you mentioned, targets. So targets it's not only retail industry has targets, every industry, each and every job will have targets, right? There's no running away from targets, and that's a reality. Every company is looking at returns, right? If you're going to get a return, the company will get returns, only then they want to have employees. They'll be able to function, have employees, and make money. So if you are a little even jittery about targets, like I said, it's not only the retail industry, any job that you have will be target oriented. And but believe me, and I'm pretty confident that, like I said, I'm from the industry, so no industry per se puts targets which are unachievable, right? There's an entire demand forecasting which happens, and based on that, only targets are set. So targets should not scare you in any which ways. As far as growth and retail management is concerned, if you ask me, there are two sides to it. One, at any point of time, if there's a new policy that the government undertakes, the first thing that is hit is the retail industry. If it's a policy which works for the people, the first thing that gets a boost is the retail management industry. So as far as growth in retail industry is concerned, your economy is booming, retail industry will boom, right? If there's a slowdown in the economy, again, the retail industry will see an impact in it. So if you're talking in terms of growth in retail management, hopefully the country will be on a progression path only, right? With the support of the various governments that are there, and retail industry should do pretty well. But like I mentioned, retail industry performance is very closely aligned to the way the economy performs, and I'm sure each one of you will understand that. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I have some more questions. For OJT, do you need to look for stores? Oh, okay, no. OJT is facilitated by the college itself, right? So we faculty are there to take care of the OJT, the stores that are there. You don't need to worry about that. But yes, what you need to worry about is that once you're there for your OJT, you perform well over there. Remember, then you are the brand ambassadors of BIMTECH, and I'm sure and confident that you'll do a good job over there. Okay, Dikshant, how is the retail management different from marketing? Okay, marketing. So retail management, like I mentioned in the beginning itself, it has a mix of marketing in it, but here we're taking care primarily of the retail industry per se, right? So it is a sectoral program. When I say sectoral program, a little more, it has been narrowed down to the retail stores, etc. Now, marketing, if you ask me, marketing can be anywhere. Marketing can be in a bank also, right? When I'm talking, so if you are in the retail management sector, then you're looking at marketing of, like I said, as far as stores, etc. are concerned. Bank, yes, you could probably be there, but then maybe the line for you would be more in terms of the store operations or in terms of selling in various malls, etc. is concerned, right? And like I mentioned, it's going to be at a managerial level over there. Okay, what packages do department managers profile get or store managers get? Like I mentioned, I've mentioned the average pay package earlier, which for this batch, the average pay package is 7.85 lakhs. So then if you're talking of a department manager or a store manager profile, it's the average package, and these are the profiles that they've hired for this year. So it's going to be at an average of 7.85 lakhs approximately. And I'm sure with the capable students like you all coming across, hopefully let's see which way the package goes. Okay. Any other questions that we have in hand? I think now I have run out of questions. Am I right? Anybody else? You're most welcome to go ahead and ask still. I'm right here. So are we done? Okay, so I can't see any more questions coming my way. In case there are any questions, you're most welcome to buzz BIMTECH and ask for me. Remember, I'm Dr. Pooja Misra. So if you still have some questions, then that's okay. Call for me, call at BIMTECH numbers, and I'll be there to take care of your queries. Thank you so much and have a good day, everybody.